Hello class, and welcome to my debate. My name is Brian Erb, and today I will be discussing why all hospitals should not be non-profit. So without further ado, let's jump into it. So, what exactly is a non-profit hospital? I feel like we hear this term a lot in our day-to-day lives, and we associate it as being a generally good thing. But how exactly it is a good thing, I feel like many of us are not very familiar with. So let's dive into the basics. What is the basic definition of a nonprofit hospital or organization? So the IRS defines this as a charity organization that is not required to pay property, state, federal, or sales taxes. This is because the IRS considers them as charity and exempts them from these taxes with the agreement that the hospital reinvests what it would have spent on these taxes into the surrounding community. How this reinvestment looks can vary widely between nonprofit hospitals, but it can be done like, say, footing the bill for a patient who was unable to pay their bill, or just doing some general good in the community. These types of hospitals tend to be found in higher income areas with a greater percentage of healthy and insured adults. Now that we know the basics of what nonprofit hospitals are, let's look at the differences between them and for-profit hospitals. So a for-profit hospital is not exempt from taxes as a nonprofit hospital is. These types of hospitals are most commonly owned by a group of private shareholders who are tasked with turning a profit to sustain their business. These hospitals tend to charge more for services due to a variety of factors, which includes increased utilization of medical technologies and higher operating costs due to being taxed. These hospitals are more likely to be found in lower income communities, especially in states who elected not to expand Medicare after the passage of the Affordable Care Act. Nonprofit hospitals are required to provide uncompensated care, which may explain why they are typically found in higher income areas. Because for-profit hospitals operate very similarly to any other private-owned business, they spend a portion of their revenue on advertisement. So, are nonprofits really a charitable cause? Nonprofit hospitals are exempt from federal and state taxes with the general agreement of returning what would be spent on these taxes in the form of a community benefit. Community benefits can include a range of activities such as the provision of charity care, community health improvement projects, and conducting research. In fact, providing charity care was the original agreement for hospitals to provide in order to gain their tax-exempt status. However, since the original implementation of this, policy has been changed to include a much broader range as to what can be included as a community benefit. If hospitals considered not-for-profit are expected to turn their profits to commitments such as community benefits, then why are 7 out of 10 of the most profitable U.S. hospitals nonprofit? The answer to this is much simpler than one would think. These hospitals don't pay taxes that would ordinarily encumber a for-profit hospital. This allows them to save a huge portion of funds that would otherwise have been spent on taxes. Nonprofits can tap into philanthropic funds, receive government grants, issue tax-exempt bonds, and retain earnings from operating surpluses. Of course, they are expected to reinvest what profits they do make into community benefits. But with this definition being so broad, one can only wonder where the community benefit is really being spent. In fact, one form of a community benefit that is tax code acceptable today can be accepting Medicare or Medicaid as a form of payment. Conducting business in this manner, accepting this form of compensation and writing it off as a community benefit, would allow a huge portion of community benefit requirements to be written off. Additionally, nonprofit hospital CEOs make around an average of $600K a year, with the highest earner making $25.5 million in a single year. If nonprofit hospitals are supposed to be reinvesting their capital, then why are some of their CEOs earning such huge salaries? So you decide, are nonprofit hospitals really all that great, and should all hospitals be nonprofit? I will say that coming into this topic not knowing much about nonprofit hospitals, I was probably the same as most others, thinking that they're all a generally good thing. And indeed, since nonprofit hospitals conduct basically all scientific research in the US, all scientific journals seem to be sort of biased towards nonprofit hospitals. But after looking into unbiased information about nonprofit hospitals and what they really are, I can say that there's a ton of misinformation out there regarding nonprofit hospitals, and one should be really careful when just taking statements or information at face value when assessing these sorts of things. Once again, thank you for coming to my debate today. My name's Brian Erb, and hope everyone has a great day. Thanks.